we're going to Daytona.
I'm 1,000% going to drink out of this, by the way.
So you've been going to Daytona for a while. You're going as a kid with your dad. Now you're going as a driver. What are your fondest memories from watching your dad race and then as a driver?
Dad didn't really run the 500. He had all-time wreck in 1983
Bro.
or 4. It's worth the YouTube. Big tumble.
Dude. The IROC guys were in the garage, and they said that his hood landed, like Ray Abraham says, like the hood landed
Probably 400 yards away. It was
in
a
the
massive
garage,
wreck.
like bonk.
So that was before I was even a thought. And I remember my dad had a lot of success there at Daytona in like the mid to late 90s, and then 2001 was the last time he won a Busch race, won 3. I remember sitting up in the grandstands for all of those. That was always a cool experience to see your pops get the dub there. Never really hung around for the Cup race. I remember Dad trying to qualify for actually Front Row Motorsports. That was probably 2006. Missed the show.
For Front Row.
Yeah.
Really?
I think it was like one of the first races they tried to make. So Bob Jenkins tapped Big Rand to try to get her to show. There was probably like 65 cars there back in the day. But my all-time memory, and it's always a perspective adjuster for me, is going down there for my first 500. So,
Yeah.
up to that point, so without giving the full context, I had no business driving a Cup car. I had driven probably 4 or 5, maybe 10 Xfinity races prior to being the squeaky wheel with Ron Devine at BK and calling in a favor with Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson calling Ron Devine and saying, hey, he can do it, and then Ron allowing me to be in for one event, which was the Daytona 500, to try to just like get the money rolling to the next couple. So we get going. I, at that point, had about 20 laps of super speedway experience. It was I got wrecked by Brandon Jones in a Busch race 20 laps into the show, and that was the extent of my drafting experience. Drafting practice rained out. We were the slowest car there by like 3/10. Like there was the fastest car, then the last place car, then there was 3 more tenths, and then there was mine. I had to beat one car in the duels, Reed Sorensen.
Speedy Reedy.
And my car was like the Bad News Bears. There was like 3 guys on our car, like no matching shirts, just like here's this hot rod. Let's just try to push her down the beach and see what happens.
We got some money for this thing. See if we get in the show,
we got
great. If not,
the fella
whatever.
guy from Dustus Blaster wants to fly down here in his jet and see his car go around in circles. That's what we were.
Yeah.
So before my duel, the only person that was around my car, he was probably even setting air pressure, was Ron Devine, the guy that owned it.
I came down there and said good luck.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. And I'm like petrified, bro. I don't know what I don't know. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to learn how to draft in this duel. Meanwhile, I'm trying to make the biggest race of my life. And Ron Devine comes to the window net, and he goes, hey, big guy, this car doesn't have very much sponsorship this year, and if we probably don't make this race, we're not going to go the West Coast swing.
Chase Elliott, Ed and Hendrick.
Yeah, Chase Elliott's flying over top of a nonsense garage right now. And he puts the window up, walks away. I
Ron Devine, the team owner, is your tire guy and your interior guy, puts the window up
and your motivational speaker.
It's like Days of Thunder. Oh, man. Now, what does he say? Now we're having sponsor trouble.
Now we're having sponsor. We didn't have any sponsors, so we didn't have any trouble.
Just no trouble.
So puts the window up, walks away, and I give the belt a little extra tuggy. All right, dear Lord, please take the wheel like Carrie Underwood. Let's freaking go with this thing. The whole time I'm glued like white on rice to the back of this 55 car. Wherever Reed goes, I'm going. Wherever I'm going, he's going. One mano y mano for last place and dead last place. And we get going, and I don't know what are the trigger areas. I don't know what the hot spots are, where you're supposed to make a pass. I'm just floored, bro. Like cold trickle.
There's one thing you knew.
I had to beat this black car in front of me.
That Jimmy Johnson told you that people get lazy in the tribal and you can plug them 3 wide.
He did tell me
because that comes up later in the story.
Yep. So we go around. He stayed out on tires. I come in, got four field goods, and we go out, and there's a last little run home, like 15 laps. And sure enough, you start getting a little free in through the trial, especially on old tires like Reed was, and he was chasing. And he'd leave the middle open, and I was like, ooh, there it is. That's what he was talking about. Leaves it open. 3-4 laps in a row, and I'm like trying to time my run so I can stick it in there right at the flag stand. And I drag back a little bit through the middle of 3 and 4, and I get the he leaves the middle open. I stick my right front fender in there, and it was just enough. And she funnels back down, 55, like slow motion. Right off, like window, rear deck lid flaps or roof flaps up. There he goes.
Dude, he hit hard.
He hit a ton.
But it wasn't malicious.
No, I was trying to beat him.
Well, yeah, you were trying to beat him.
And I also didn't know, like, probably where I was supposed to be. But all I knew is there was a spot, and I filled it. Didn't work out good for him. Worked out great for me.
7-time champ told you to do it. If
he wants
to be mad at somebody,
be mad at Jimmy. Call him up.
Call Jimmy.
So they bring me to the media center, and I'm there, and I still don't know what's what, right? But I know I'm in the Great American.
Got hurt.
Didn't know he got hurt. Didn't know that for like weeks. He definitely wasn't hurt the next week when he plugged me in the fence at Phoenix. But that's neither here nor there. So I'm sitting there at the media desk, and Marty Smith asked me, I don't know, something like, what's it mean for you to make it? And I just start, like, I got choked up. I think I said something like I'd have wrecked my grandmother to make this
your mother. But anyway.
I'd have thought twice about
Anyway, you weren't very apologetic.
No.
Because you didn't do it on purpose, but then people kind of had.
I can assure you this. If I do not make that race, I am not sitting here.
No.
I'm here. I'm welding seats.
Yeah,
that's
right
what I'm
next
doing.
Door.
Right on the other side of this wall, I'm welding seats instead of driving a cup car 7 years later. So that is a monumental moment in my career, and that's my favorite Daytona 500 memory.